Hi, everyone. Welcome back to No Segue. My name is Danette Rodriguez, and today I am sitting down with stand-up comedian Gabe Pacheco. Gabe is originally from Washington, D.C., and he runs a amazing show called Funhouse. I was mixing that up with producer, but he's also stand-up. Gabe, welcome. Thank you for sitting down with me today.
Danette, thank you very much. I consider myself a triple threat, comedian, producer, and friend. And Danette, I got to tell you that you are a lifesaver. And I don't know if this is going to be on video or what, but I need people to see this grimace colored little cushion that you hooked me up with. So I Zoom, I probably 8 hours a day teaching, especially now in the springtime. And this, at first I laughed when you gave it to me. I didn't think I'd use it. And now this is like an Air Max sole for my tuchus.
Nice. So it's
Yeah,
working for you.
man, it's mandatory.
Wow. I'm happy. That makes me happy to hear that. I thought that it looked silly because it has those two holes.
Sure.
And at the time I was single and I just thought, it was giving an impression that yeah, I don't know.
Well, I don't know who designed it. It doesn't look practical. You know what I mean? Those two holes look like they don't mean anything. And it just makes me think about in middle school when I had to do an egg drop. And all of us in the class, we all designed our cushions for the eggs different because we had to go to the second floor of a gym and drop. This was the best / most humiliating experience. It almost felt like an open mic because none of us knew if our designs were going to work. And then we're all outside watching and waiting and like rooting for the other person's egg drop apparatus to fail.
That's great.
you know anyway, I was just thinking about this and like who were the designers of this cushion.
Probably one of the people whose egg drop apparatus failed. He's like, I will get my revenge.
Sure, we're gonna keep butts comfortable in this new like Black Mirror nightmare that we live in, where we have to be online all day long.
Yeah, speaking of which, so what grades are you teaching and when do you go back live?
I never want to go back live.
Mhm.
And I think that this is a controversial statement to make because a lot of teachers and students think that it's better in person. But I'm just thinking about every hour that I wasted waiting for a late train, waking up 2 hours before class to be ready and then to get to the school. Whereas now, if a class starts at 8:30, I can literally wake up at 8:25, put on a button-up shirt, I got the sweatpants on, I got the mesh basketball shorts on, and I can then teach the class.
Yeah.
So
Uh,
like no one, yeah.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say that none of our jobs pay us for commute time. And I think that every single job should pay us for every hour that it takes us to get to and from work. Because
Now
that's
that's an
all,
idea.
yeah, that's all mandatory nonsense. That's a hidden expense.
I think some people are smart enough that they, when they're negotiating their salaries, they put that in there. FYI. Yeah, yeah. Um, but also, I feel like the way the government and the way the corporations work, they would say, well, we want to pay you all that money, but we're going to just hire someone that's cheap that lives down the block. So bye.
Mm-hmm.
They figure out a way to not pay you. Well, I guess at the end of the day, we have to ask for what we want, right?
You got it
Financially,
in
emotionally,
everything,
and everything.
spiritually.
Spiritually. Speaking of spiritually, so New York City is opening up on May 12th, I think it is, or the 19th. We're opening up like in the next. So right now it's May 5th. Happy Cinco de Mayo.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna go. New York is gonna go back to regular drive. Like we're gonna go back into whatever it was that I forgot what society looked like post pre 2020.
Well, I have a question for you then. Like, what habits do we want to maintain or keep from this sort of mandatory study hall that we all had for the last year? And for me, this time off, obviously there was like a bunch of hardships, both personally, and but then also socially. Like the world is still being devastated, especially in India, by coronavirus.
Shout
But
out to India.
personally as well, there was so much that I got out of this time. I've been doing yoga every day. Uh, you
Ooh,
know, Shout outs to Yoga with Adrian on YouTube. She doesn't need
nice.
my sponsorship, but because she's doing fine. But I realize now that all of my friends also were doing yoga with Adrian, right?
That's
Because
funny.
anytime I said I'm doing yoga online, they're like, with the lady from Austin, and I was like, yes.
Uh,
So,
that explains your glow because you're glowing.
oh, thanks. I think this is just a filter on the Zoom screen.
It's a great filter because you're glowing. But it might be the yoga though.
Yeah, thank you. Well, so what am I getting at? It's like, what are the things is there anything that you did during this time that you want to maintain?
Great question. Thank you for flipping it on me. I recently moved. I moved in February, and I feel like because of that, it was very chaotic for me. So I lost whatever rituals, whatever habits I had formed that were healthy for me. So some of the habits that I formed were going for walks at least 20 minutes a day, meditation, journaling, reading. I would take Harvard Business Review courses that were free online. So I felt like I was succeeding at life. But then with the move and then having to rebudget, that took a lot out of me because the move was so expensive. And then I'm in a new space, so I can't, journal at the same spot I used to journal in. So I have to find a nook that works for me. Like in the beginning, I wanted to journal, I wanted to meditate, for example, and then I would find a spot in my apartment. But then as I'm meditating, I'm thinking about Twitter, or I'm thinking about a box, or I'm thinking about what's in the bathroom. And so obviously that's not a good spot for me to meditate in. So it was just kind of like where, and then cooking, like I have a kitchen now where before I didn't really have a separate kitchen. So for me, since February, it's been a little chaotic. And now that the city is opening up again, it's like, oh crap, like now I have to mentally prepare to be outside more. So it's been a little confusing for me in the last few months, but I'm
Yeah.
happy to hear that you've been consistent throughout this whole thing.
Well, it's been a roller coaster. Let's say like if we go all the way back in time to last March, I was living with my fiance at the
Mm.
time, and I think around March 1st she decided that we were done. So we ended up breaking up, which is totally fine. I got over it, but at the same time, this we were still cool as friends. So it was like, hey man, you can stay in the apartment until you figure out where you're gonna go. So you're here, you can stay here till April 1st. Then you gotta get the F out. And this was right, like we didn't know that coronavirus was gonna shut down the world. So March 15th rolls around, and that's the day that everybody came home with their grocery bags from the bodega and Lysoled all the zucchini and just like, so we didn't know if we already had it. We didn't know if we were gonna die. So it was like, her plans all got canceled. So I was like, I guess you can stay here until things open up. So I was living with my ex for 3 months in Quar at the beginning of this. So that was like a 90-day ex fiance type experience. And yeah, man. And then the Black Lives Matter movement was another huge like just episode in all of this. So it hasn't been consistent because that I remember the marches like right outside my window, every day during the summer. And there were the fireworks all summer as well. So like
That's
we're not getting
right.
any sleep. There's marches outside the window. And then that was a reason for me to get out of the apartment as well. So now I went out and I was at the marches. I had to get my steps in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the 10,000 steps.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
found out about that. Yeah.
Cause like, I think in February, I was feeling aspirational, right? February last year, I made a resolution a month too late to join the gym. So I
Mhm.
got like a Crunch membership in February, and then the pandemic hit. So it was like, oh man, I can't even go to the gym. So then when the summer came around and we're all out in the streets, I was like, hell yeah, BLM, I'm here every day. What are we doing? We're marching, we're doing a bike ride, we're doing a dance party. This is my CrossFit. I am down with the cause.
You were, what do they call that? No, you were multitasking. You were protesting for the rights of Black Americans and also getting your steps in, while
Yeah.
also seeking opportunities for a dance off somewhere.
Look, yeah. Well, I think some famous anarchist said, "I don't want to be part of the revolution if you can't dance." I'm paraphrasing, but yeah, my revolution's got to have a dance party to it.
I love dancing. Oh my God. So wait, so what are you looking forward to, like with New York City reopening? Are you looking forward to Broadway? Are you looking forward to doing more live comedy? Are you looking forward to hugging people more?
Yeah, I mean, all of that. I want to get back out to live performances. That's really what I want to do, and I want to look at it differently than I did in the past. I don't care so much about doing spots. It's not because Uh, I don't wanna run around anymore. My goal, though, is to put out another album within the next year and a half. So, during the pandemic, I didn't really stop doing stand-up at all. It was just, via Zoom. So, I was doing a ton of Zoom shows at first, fundraisers, to, raise money to bail people out of Rikers, because I was really concerned with, anybody kinda, like, locked up during all this, because there's no way to separate yourself from like the virus if you're in like lockup.
Right.
So at first I started doing COVID bailout fundraisers, and then Samir Nassim and I were doing Funhouse on Zoom, and we do that every Wednesday at 9:30. So now, my friend, hilarious comedian Joe Larson, took me on the road to do a vineyard in Connecticut about 2 weeks ago. And it was like my second live show after I got vaccinated. And I did 20 minutes. And all of it was material that I built over the last year. So I feel pretty confident with the idea that I could um, get a new get an hour uh, in about a year and a half. That's the dream. That's like what I want to be out for.
It's a beautiful dream. It's a nice dream. I love it.
Yeah, yeah. How about you? What are some things that you're really excited to do?
Um, oh my gosh, I really don't know. I think maybe just right now, the live comedy, the performing live is awesome. Like getting to hear people's laughter in 3D is awesome. And getting to see people and hug them and just see their smiling faces, that's really lovely. Um, I think it's funny because I've spoken to other comedians and they've said the same thing, that they're not just gonna do any random show, that they're gonna think twice about just, they're going to be more strategic with what performance, where they perform at. And I think it's interesting how the pandemic has caused us to really reconsider our time and our energy. Um, but yeah, I like to put out a one woman show, and I told my friend who's a director, and he's very supportive of me. So I'm like, dang, I have all the right people, but now I'm like, fuck, I got to do the work. But yeah,
Huh.
that's a goal of mine. It feels a little overwhelming though, just because I don't know it's how society is going to come. Like, I'm not looking forward to the packed trains and the crowded restaurants and specifically in New York, like us shoulder to shoulder. Like I'm not. I'm a little sad about that because that's the reality here in New York.
Yeah, man, look, I don't I feel like it helped me live the life I wanted to live the last year. Um, it got me less addicted. I want to say less addicted to the hustle. It certainly didn't get me less addicted to social media. I can, because I know I'm addicted to social media. Like my phone tells me every time I pick it up, it's like, Gabe, you spent 25 hours on me today. And I'm
Yeah.
like, how did I make time? I don't understand. But that being said, I feel like I read more books than I would have. I started drawing again. I built my own drafting table, and I don't care as much about these. What's a word for them? Like almost like golden apples. There's this story in mythology of a foot race between these guys were like racing for like the honor of these goddesses, right? So they're like they're doing a race for them, and then one of the goddesses has these golden apples, and she keeps throwing them in the path of the people racing, and it distracts some of the competitors, so they like run off and they grab the apples instead of like winning the race. And in our lives, I think that there are like every day you are thrown a golden apple that's worthless, that means nothing, that gets in the way of you doing the thing that you told yourself you wanted to do.
I love this. Yeah.
So learning to say no is so important to having the life that you want. It's in improv, we're taught to say yes to everything.
Yes.
And that's sort of like a positive mental attitude idea, say yes. But I am here to tell you that in the age of so much information and so many people distracting us, say no.
That is beautiful. That is so beautiful. I feel like that's like a book, because we have so many books that say learn to say yes, lead from a place of yes, 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 yes. And now it's like, yeah, 2021, learn how to say no, because especially because of all the information that's out there. Wow, I love it. I was just going to ask you, how have you been able to read all your books and do your yoga and just stay
Saying no.
focused? But you're saying no. So today is Wednesday. What have you said no to so far this week?
Uh, well, I got asked to do a show last week that was kind of like a game show, and I think it's a really funny concept. But I was asked to do it, and with there were going to be like 15 other comics on the show, and I thought to myself, all right, well, that just means I'm going to have to stay up late. It means I'm going to have to commute on a weekend to the city, to like Manhattan. So it's going to take me an hour and a half to get there. I'm going to have to stay for the whole like 3 hour event because nothing starts on time. And then I'm going to have to take an hour train back home to not showcase or write material, to sort of just be part of this thing with other performers, so that it had no value. Once the comedian in me in the past would have been like, oh, all stage time is good, all networking is good. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to make any fans from doing this, and I'm not gonna be showcased.
Mhm.
So, no.
Well, when you put it that way, yeah, you mean it. But you did have to go through the process. Like you did have to ask yourself, though, you had to be diligent enough to ask yourself those questions.
Yeah, it's like knowing what your core competencies are, or like that's like such a HR word, but sort of what are your values? And I remember I had this my friend Nancy Goldman, she is related to comedy, she's comedy adjacent, and she was a career coach, and years ago she gave me a list of words, and it was like she said, circle the words that mean something to you. And the three that I circled were like communication, collaboration, and creativity. So she's like, great. So any job that you take should be aligned with those values or those passions. So someone might offer me a job, but if it doesn't align with those,
Three.
then I'm going to be miserable after a week.
After a whole week.
Well, like, yeah, like,
So the pleasure and the sensations like die down. You're like, oh, this wasn't worth it. This feels empty.
yeah. So say no to like things that you don't want to, that are not going to feed you
That's
artistically.
beautiful. I feel empowered just by that. So I have another question for you. It's in regards to collaboration. How do you like? Do you have any tips on how to best collaborate with people? specifically as a stand-up comedian, right? Like we kind of do things solo, like but there's also like you're a co-producer to a very popular show. So can you share also like some of the tips on what makes your show successful and how collaboration plays a role in it?
Well, okay,
Was
so
that wordy?
no, I think something to shift out of is like you have to put on a different hat. So a stand-up comedian it is a solitary art form. And to I like to shift into this idea of like, well, okay, what if I'm an artist? If I call myself an artist, then artists collaborate all the time, whereas stand-up comedians don't collaborate all the time. Stand-up comedian that the medium is like, I'm going to come up here and monologue and tell jokes, and they're going to have punchlines, and it's my story. But I think it's better to think of any training that you got during improv or any training that you got during acting, um, when thinking about collaborating, if that makes any sense. Like it's a mental shift.
I'm just thinking about the people that didn't get improv training or acting training, like how they would see collaboration. But if you're saying but I like what you said. If you see yourself as an artist, then all artists must collaborate, or you leave yourself by just changing the labels that you give yourself or that you put on yourself, you're able to expand your circle. So if I see myself as an artist, well, an artist, collaborates. They draw and they play with other people.
Yeah.
Where, yeah.
Yeah. Also, having a team, thinking about the team and like, if you're the manager of the team, what is your position? Another way to think about it's like thinking about a sports or an organization where it's like, okay, am I the face of this? Am I the color commentary? Is this what are we doing? I'm not looking for people that are exactly like me when I'm collaborating. I'm looking for people that fill in the my blind spots and areas of weakness.
So another thing that you're saying here is that you put a lot of thought into who you're working with. Like you specifically seek out people that are not you, that fill in the gaps or
Yeah.
fill in a weakness that you may have, that it's their strength.
Yeah. And some of this is considering communication. You know, you got to like put your ego aside at times. But
Mm.
values are super important. So like I've been thinking about this with dating recently.
Hmm.
Um and it's weird to say this now, but I'm like, oh, wait to have sex, like many dates, or like I want to date friends rather than strangers or people I meet on apps. And the reason is with somebody who's a friend or somebody who I've talked to for a while, then I already know what their values are, because sex is easy. You can fall in love with anybody physically, but if you lead with physicality, you might end up fucking a cop and then like giving birth to a bunch of little piglets. And you're like, well, I love him, but like he's a Republican fascist. So like what, like I don't want to lead with my dick and like hook up with someone who turns out to be an idiot with like a slim thick body.
Yeah, oh my God, that was brilliant. I think that comes with age though, too. Like knowing that sex is not everything and that sex can lead you in the wrong direction with the wrong partner. Yeah,
Yeah.
because sex is addictive, or it can be addictive.
And
Um,
like honestly, you can do it with anybody. So
and
like
yeah,
why not figure out somebody whose brain who like you also, it's not even that it's not about intelligence. That's not what I'm saying. It's not even about, it's just about values,
yeah,
right? Because at the end of the day, I don't want to be doing like hanging out with someone whose family I hate or like,
okay, yeah,
you know, somebody who like their politics are questionable. These things matter so much more now that I'm older.
yeah. Now that you're older, would you advise your younger self this? Would you give your younger self this information, or will you just let it ride until?
uh I don't. Well, okay. So I want to add. We can go back to that, but this is also a metaphor for like who you work with, because not only anybody I work with also has to have like some values that we share, because what if you build a restaurant or a business or a sketch show with someone who ultimately wants something totally different from you, or you don't see eye to eye? That tension is going to stay there the whole time, and whatever you make is eventually going to crumble.
Yeah, that reminds me of TD Jakes, a pastor that I listen to. Have you heard of him, TD
No.
Jakes? So he's a pastor, and I will misquote this, but he talks about that there's three types of people in your life. There's people that are for you because you guys are going in the same journey, so they're
Mm-hmm.
with you. But once you reach that journey, they no longer will ride with you. It's like their mission is done. Then there are the ones that will ride with you regardless. They're there for you actually as a person. Whether you're down or up, they'll always be there for you. And those are the people that you really need to look out for and make sure you recognize, because you can mistake the two. You can mistake someone that's riding with you just to get to the goal, but that they won't be there for you after the goal, or if you never make it to the goal.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really nice, because sometimes, especially in comedy, it's like I'll specifically meet people that are wonderful. And then like I'll notice that once my opportunities start to diminish, or maybe I'm in a bad place, those people tend to like scatter. And it's like, I thought we were friends. And I
Yeah.
was feeling kind of bitter about that, or kind of confused about that, because I thought the relationship was genuine and sincere. And then when I heard TD Jakes talk about that, I felt a little bit better, because it's like, oh, they were with me because we both had the same cause. We both had the same mission to perform stand up and be well known. And so once that was achieved, or once that could no longer go any further, that was the end of the relationship. and
Yeah.
and and then I felt okay with it. I didn't feel like it was so personal and
Yeah, look, it's not personal. That's the thing, is like there are so many people. I've been doing comedy in New York for a while now, like over a decade, and I've seen this insecure personal insecurity, or people confusing professional relationships for friendships,
yeah.
and then falling into like a high school mentality of why don't they like me, or like some sort of internal neuroses or anxiety
Yeah.
and competitiveness. And all of that is because it's like, well, if you now realize that these are just your coworkers, would you ever get so butthurt around whether or not your coworkers like you? No, because like you check in, you check out, you
Yeah.
show up, and then when you leave, you go and you hang out with your real friends.
Yeah, I think it's tricky though. I mean, for me, I know that when I work in the office, like it's very clear. I'm walking into a building every day. I see these people for a certain amount of hours every day. So it's very clear that they're my coworkers and that they may or may not throw me under the bus. But I feel like with comedy, it's so intimate. You're like in these dark basements, and you're like at different venues with different vibes, and you're having drinks together. And then as a comedian, you're sharing so much, you're being so vulnerable, and you're sharing so many intimate details about your life. You kind of feel, yeah, there's an expectation that we're do or die. But you're right, but I think the lines are harder to see.
Yeah, the lines are blurred. You got to keep your heart open, but you got to keep your mind. You have a mind, you have a brain to set up boundaries to protect your open, innocent heart.
Yeah, okay,
So
so you're using your mind to protect your heart.
yeah,
Beautiful.
but but you have to have an open heart to access anything truthful and anything good creatively. I think that is such an important place.
And
To,
yoga helps with that, right? With keeping your heart
you know,
chakra
yoga,
vibrating.
yoga just helps me keep my body awake.
But
So
it also helps with the chakras and with like opening the heart center.
yeah, that might be a side effect or a benefit, but I just think of any practice as just keeping myself limber. I want to keep my instrument. We are not just our minds. You're not just your brain. You are your whole body.
Oh,
So
I'm not just my brain. Oh, gosh.
Well, I think a lot of us have detached ourselves and we think that we live in our heads, but we're not in our heads.
Yeah.
So it's just important to keep moving and keep momentum and energy flowing from our
Mm.
toes to our fingers, up to the top of our head,
Yes, Gabe.
down to my
Yes.
cushioned root.
I'm so happy the cushion's working for you.
I'm loving it.
Oh, that's awesome. Do you like my background?
Yeah, where are we? Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic.
Miami.
Uh-huh.
Miami.
Sick.
Yeah. So speaking of Miami, are there any cities or states that you're looking forward to visit in 2021?
Yeah. Well, my brother's in LA, so I'd love to go out to LA and hang out there for a little while. New Orleans would be fantastic. I've never
Yes.
been to Puerto Rico, and my goal is to go there this year. There's no more time to put things off.
Yes, Puerto Rico, New Orleans. Oh my God, I've been thinking about New Orleans for some reason for like the past 3 months. I think it's the food and the music, the jazz music. Oh,
Dude, it's the one place that I went and I saw young white hipsters dancing not to DJs but to live bands.
it's
Like
beautiful.
every bar I went to was another band playing. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? And
good
people are
music.
dancing to like old timey. It's like, yeah, everyone was dancing to like old timey swing and jazz.
That is so funny. Old timey. Um, and I actually wanted, I don't know how to introduce this, but so I'll just ask you. We have a couple of more minutes left, but I wanted to ask you about your eye surgery. Can we talk about that? Because
Hell yeah.
I wear glasses and I'm getting older and I want to do the eye surgery, but I don't know what the process is like. I'm scared because it's my eyeballs, you know. So can you tell us about your experience with eye, like what made you take do the eye surgery, how long it took, how you feel now?
Well, you know how you say things like one day I want to go to Europe, or one day I'm going to buy a car, or one day I'm going to record my album. And all of these things are, you just have to pull the trigger and actually do it. And once you realize that the first step, it's all just, it's all baby steps. And the first step is just looking up LASIK
Mm.
on your computer and then setting up a consultation. And it takes 10 minutes to do that. So when my relationship fell apart right away, I was like, well, what haven't I been doing? And I had all this bandwidth because I was like not thinking about a wedding anymore, not thinking about like going on a group vacation with her, not thinking about like holidays with families. It was just like, okay, now it's just me again. What do I want in my life?
Mhm.
I have terrible vision and I've always wanted LASIK. So I looked it up and I had money saved up for the wedding, right? I was like, now this money is for Papa. So I went, I got the test and they said, yeah, no problem. You can get it. And then we scheduled the appointment for like a week later, I think.
Wow.
The actual surgery only takes 30 seconds,
Wow.
right? They'd shoot laser beams directly into your eyes.
Oof.
And first they put these drops in your eyes, like painkillers.
Mm.
So it's like numbs the eyeball.
Wow, I'm scared already. Okay.
Well, so they numb your eyeballs, and then they do the surgery, and your eyes are one of the fastest healing organs in your body, right? So like
Oh,
your mouth heals really quickly, your eyes heal really quickly because you're constantly getting like grit or particles in your eyes. So
wow.
they've gotta nature finds a way to heal you.
Wow,
Then
beautiful.
after you get the surgery, I got an Uber home right away. They gave me some big sunglasses like that old people wear, or
Nice.
like
The cataracts. Yeah.
yeah, Cyclops from X-Men, those
Yeah.
little cataracts glasses.
Good
So I put
Halloween
the
costume. Uh-huh.
yeah, I put those on and I took an Uber home, and then I took like 3 Benadryl and just passed out for about 10 hours. And then when I woke up, my vision was blurry, but my eyes didn't hurt.
Okay.
Because they will start hurting the minute that the painkiller wears off,
Yeah.
and so they tell you to like take a sedative. You just go to sleep. And then within like 3 days, my vision was perfect.
So in that day, so after you woke up and your eyes are blurry, your vision was blurry, how did you move around, and were you worried that your vision was going to stay blurry? Like, how did you stay positive?
Well, I
'Cause-
listened to a lot of podcasts to like kill
okay.
time,
Okay.
and I ate a lot of junk food. I just had like a ton of ice cream. So I'm in bed eating ice cream, listening to podcasts,
Self-care, self-care.
self-care, and my vision would blur, but then it would get better, and then it would blur and it would get better
So,
because your eyes are like healing and adjusting.
so
And
it's a
the fact
process.
that the doctors told me that that was going to happen made it,
Reassured you.
yeah, I was like, okay, cool. I'm not a freak. This is normal. And then I think the first time I took a shower, like 2 days later, uh, I could see my toes and I could see exactly how dirty my shower was.
Oh no.
So that was like such a great shock.
Did
And
you do a dance?
oh hell yeah. Dude, LASIK is dope, man. You like know exactly what you need to clean in your apartment. You can see the person you're having sex with.
Wow.
You can see your feet.
Yeah.
I can, right? Because I was like a mole man.
That's funny because I wear glasses, and yeah, when I am being intimate with my partner and I don't have my glasses on, it's I can't see them.
Yeah, they could be anybody.
I mean, yeah, basically. I mean, hope yeah, but so that's a nice treat to know that like I won't need my glasses to see them.
Hmm. Also, I can wear like masks now if I want to. I can wear different. I don't know. Like I just feel like I have more freedom with my
You
face.
do. Yeah, you do have more freedom with your face. That's awesome. All right. Okay. All right.
When it rains,
Yes.
I don't worry about my glasses getting covered.
Dude, so many people can still don't know how to wear a mask because they say that it fogs up their glasses. Yes.
I can wear cheap sunglasses whenever I want.
And look cool. Those are great.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, I know.
Yeah, I'm
That's
ready for Puerto
awesome.
Rico.
Oh my God, you definitely have to go to not Isla Mujeres, that's Mexico. East Culebra, Culebra in Puerto Rico, and Maya West, which is where my family's from,
Yeah.
and Isla Verde, which is right next to San Juan. Puerto Rico's dope. When are you going?
Hopefully in June.
Okay, next month.
Yeah.
Very nice. I'm excited for you.
Yeah. Just got to pull the trigger and make it happen.
Yeah. This was fun. I feel like I got I mean, you gave us so much wisdom and pieces of nuggets and insights. So thank you. What really stuck out for me so far was the saying no part. That's brilliant.
Yeah. Don't waste your time running after other people's dreams.
Yeah. Or and just saying no to like, logging on to Instagram or Twitter every 20 minutes. I
Yeah.
think that's something we all need to do because so many of us, like, I'll go to a restaurant or I'll just be walking outside and people are just everybody's on their phone. It's kind of like at first it was a running joke, but now it's like, okay, this is no.
Yeah.
um so can you tell people where they can find you, like where do you hang out more in on social?
Yeah. So thanks. I'm at Gabe Pack 1, GABEPAC 1 on Instagram. And Funhouse Comedy is on Zoom. And you can just check out IG Funhouse Comedy.
Great
But
show.
we're gonna take a hiatus for the next 3 weeks, and then we'll be back on Zoom again the first Wednesday in June. It's always at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. And one really amazing thing about it is that we book comedians from all over the country now and all over the world. I've got a couple friends who I've booked from Mexico City, comedians. So yeah, join us. It feels like church.
It's a fun show, everyone. I highly recommend it. It's so much fun, Gabe. Like, it's a vibe. It's like you're not alone, you're having fun. It's really cool. You guys have done such a great job. How long have
And
you
we
guys been running Funhouse now?
We've been running it for 6 years. We were at Pete's Candy Store in Williamsburg live IRL, and now we're online, but we're looking for a new home. So it's too early to tell you, but we're in talks. So we might be at a club sometime soon.
Oh, cool.
And then also I draw sketches and cartoons inspired by the stand-up of our guest performers. So you can check all of those videos out on my YouTube page, and you can find my YouTube page is just Gabe Pacheco, and or at the Funhouse Instagram.
Very cool. Gabe, you were awesome. Thank you for saying yes to this podcast.
Sure. Well, I wouldn't have missed it for the world. You're a dear friend, Danette, and I'm so happy that you're doing this podcast now. I can't wait to listen to this later when it
It's
comes
gonna
out.
be so lovely. It's gonna be like, oh, yeah, awesome. Well, have a great rest of the week. Happy Cinco de Mayo. Are you doing anything crazy tonight?
No, you know what? Mexicans don't really celebrate Cinco de Mayo.
Sorry.
It's like a United States marketing holiday created by like Coca-Cola or I don't know, some beer company.
Hmm.
They were like, how do we get the Hispanic market before it was called the Latino market, before it was called the Latinx market, the Hispanic market.
So it's not even real. It's not even real.
No, I think there's one state in Mexico where there was a battle and the Mexican army repulsed the French invaders, but it's not like independent. Nobody cares in Mexico.
It's just us Americans. It's
That's
an
right.
excuse to eat tacos, chips, and margaritas.
Yeah, it's an excuse for Karens to wear sombreros.
Yes, they need to wear sombreros.
Sure. Well, yeah, man, because they don't wear enough suntan lotion and they wrinkle quickly.
LMG. Gabe, bye. Thank you. Guys,
Ciao.
please subscribe to No Segue, and I'll see you guys next week. Thank you. Bye.